Have you ever felt that growing old does not only take away your health, but leaves behind a heaviness in your heart? Not from your tired legs, but from the things you have never released, a toxic relationship, a hidden fear, a memory that still lingers. The Buddha taught, attachment is suffering. Letting go is freedom. So, what must we release so that even as our hair turns silver, our hearts remain as light as drifting clouds? Let us step into this journey together to discover 7 things we must let go of in old age, to finally find true peace within each breath. Number 1, letting go of toxic relationships. In life, there are relationships that do not nourish us, but weigh down the soul. Many still cling to them believing, because they are family, I must endure, or loyalty means I cannot let go. But the Buddha taught, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. An old story tells of a man who clutched a venomous snake, mistaking it for a treasure. Only when bitten in pain did he realize, some things, when held onto, only harm ourselves. Toxic relationships are like that snake. The more we cling, the more we suffer. In today's world, we see similar stories. An elderly mother lives with her child, but instead of comfort, she only receives harsh words and blame. She silently endures, thinking, that is my child. How can I leave? Yet every night she cries from wounds that never heal. A woman in her 60s still attends gatherings with friends who gossip and criticize. Each meeting leaves her empty and drained, yet she continues going, afraid of being left out. A retired man keeps up social ties that revolve around competition, wealth, achievements, status. Each encounter feels like a silent battlefield, robbing him of peace. Letting go does not mean cutting ties in anger. It means holding compassion, yet choosing not to let our souls be eroded. A teacher once said, if a room is filled with smoke and you cannot breathe, stepping outside is not betrayal. It is saving your own breath. When we release toxic relationships, we are not abandoning love. We are choosing a deeper love for ourselves, so that we can continue to nurture compassion and share it with those who truly deserve it. When we dare to let go of toxic ties, the soul grows lighter. Like setting down a heavy backpack, our shoulders can finally breathe. Our steps become free. Yet in that silence, another fear arises. Not fear of others hurting us, but fear that comes from within. Fear of time, of aging, of watching our own bodies change. Some avoid the mirror, not wanting to see deepening wrinkles. Others tremble as hair turns grey, hands shake, health declines. And they ask, am I losing myself? This is the second burden we must learn to release, the fear of aging. Number 2, letting go of the fear of aging. Old age arrives like an uninvited guest, knocking at the door. How long can we resist? We may try to hide it, to cling to youth, but still, hair turns silver, skin wrinkles, eyes grow dim. What causes the greatest suffering is not aging itself, but the fear of aging. The Buddha taught all conditioned things are impermanent. When you see impermanence clearly, fear dissolves. A frail old monk, his body trembling, walked slowly with a gentle smile. Someone asked, Master, do you feel sad that your body is no longer strong? He replied, This body is like an oil lamp. When the oil runs low, the flame may flicker, but the light of wisdom never fades. In today's life, countless stories show how deeply we fear aging. A retired doctor hides from old friends, unwilling to show weakness. She applies heavy makeup before leaving the house, yet inside feels restless and insecure. A man in his 70s spends much of his savings on anti-aging treatments, desperate to hold on to youth. But the harder he tries, the more anxious he becomes, losing sleep in fear of time. An elderly woman sighs each morning at the mirror. Each day that passes, I lose more of myself. But in truth, aging does not steal us. It returns to us something new, stillness and depth. Youth gives us speed, but age gives us wisdom. Youth runs fast and stumbles. Age walks slow but steady. The Buddha reminded us, life is like the four seasons. Spring turns to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter. Each season has its beauty. If we release the fear of aging, we will see. Each strand of grey hair is a lesson. Each wrinkle is a line of memory. Each slower step is a chance to look deeper within. When we no longer see aging as an enemy, it becomes a teacher, showing us how to live slower, kinder, and more grateful for every breath left. Yet, even if we overcome fear of aging, another burden still lingers. Not fear of what is to come, but regret for what has passed. Many look in the mirror, not only seeing wrinkles, but sighing. I was more beautiful, stronger, happier back then. This constant comparison turns the present dull and makes us forget. Our worth is not in the past, but in living fully right now. So the next thing we must release is the habit of comparing ourselves with our younger selves. Number 3, letting go of comparing yourself to your youth. Perhaps you too have stood before the mirror, gazing at silver hair, eyes lined with age, and sighed, once I was so young. How did I become this? That quiet comparison is another form of attachment. It turns the present into loss and makes us feel defeated by the shadow of our past. The Buddha taught, do not compare yourself with others. It only disturbs the mind. Comparing with your past self is the same, a source of suffering. A Zen story tells of two travelers crossing a river. The young man, strong and impatient, plunged in and swam furiously, but soon exhausted himself and nearly drowned. The elder walked calmly downstream, found a shallow bend, and crossed with ease. Youth has speed, age has wisdom. Both are precious in their own way. In modern life, we often see such comparisons. A woman in her 60s avoids the gym, feeling clumsy compared to the youthful agility around her. Instead of joy, exercise becomes silent competition. A retired man flips through old photos, sighing to his children. I was more dignified back then. Now I am nothing. He fails to see that his wrinkles and experiences are proof of a life lived with strength. Buddhism teaches all things are impermanent. Comparing with the past blinds us to the truth. We are not meant to remain the same, but to grow with each moment. When we stop comparing, we will see. We may not be as quick, but we hold a calm that youth never had. We may lack youthful strength, but our eyes have witnessed life's profound depths. An old monk once said, "The lotus blooms in summer, chrysanthemums in autumn. No one asks the lotus to be like the chrysanthemum, nor the chrysanthemum to shine like the lotus. So why must old age resemble youth? When we stop comparing, we discover the unique beauty of now. With gratitude for who we are today, we can smile and step gently on the path of aging. But then, in the quiet afternoons, another emptiness arises. A silent house. A meal with no one beside us. A sunset with no one to share it with. And we ask, if no one is here, can I still be happy? Te-san, this is the next burden we must release. Dependence on others for happiness. Number 4, letting go of dependence on others for happiness. In the later years of life, one of the greatest sorrows is emptiness. The once lively home grows quiet. Children are busy with their own lives, friends drift away, and many wonder, if no one cares for me, do I still matter? Is my happiness dependent on others' love? The Buddha taught, no one saves us but ourselves. We alone must walk the path. This does not mean rejecting family or turning away from connection. It reminds us that true happiness does not come from outside, but must be cultivated within. A story tells of an old man tending a garden at a small, forgotten temple. A visitor asked, "Why do you care for flowers when no one comes to see them?" The old man smiled. "I water them not for others' eyes, but because the flowers need to live. My joy is in each drop, each bloom." In modern life, we see this wisdom too. A widowed man in his 70s, after waiting endlessly for calls from children abroad, finally joined an art class. His paintings were never sold, but each brushstroke brought him joy. An elderly woman, instead of waiting for family visits, began cooking and sharing meals with lonely neighbours. In giving, she discovered happiness was always near in her own hands. When we release dependence on others for happiness, we realize we need not wait for joy to be delivered. We can plant it daily. We need not wait to be loved. We can begin by loving ourselves. And when our hearts are at peace, compassion flows naturally, attracting true and warm connections. A Zen master once said, "Others may bring you a smile, but only you can keep it." Happiness is, after all, a garden within. When we tend it with care, flowers bloom year-round, whether or not anyone comes to see. And yet, in the stillness of self-reliance, another question arises. At this age, is there still anything new to learn? Anything worth beginning? Many believe old age means closure, that it's too late to start anew. But in truth, the moment we think there is nothing left to learn, our spirit begins to wither. This is what we must release next, the belief that it is too late to learn. Number 5, letting go of the belief that it's too late to learn. There is a subtle trap in old age. The thought, I'm too old now. There's nothing left to learn. Life is finished. This belief quietly closes the heart, stealing curiosity and joy. The Buddha taught, the wise, even in old age, keep the mind like a child, eager to see, eager to know, eager to learn. A Zen story tells of an 80-year-old master who still meditated each morning, practiced calligraphy, and studied scripture as if he were young. Someone asked, "Why do you keep learning at your age?" The master smiled, "Because each day is still new. If we stop learning, the mind grows old long before the body does." In today's world, many bring this teaching to life. A 78-year-old woman in America began learning the cello. When asked why, she said, "Not to perform, but to see what music these old hands can still create." Each note reminded her that the spirit does not age. An 82-year-old man in Japan took up digital art on a tablet. He laughed, "When I was young, I never had the chance. Now I do, and I want to see what flowers can still bloom inside me." A woman in her 70s in Vietnam studied English to read Buddhist texts in their original form. She shared, "The more I learn, the brighter my mind feels. I truly believe wisdom has no age." When we release the belief that it's too late to learn, we realize learning is not to prove ourselves, but to keep the mind fresh. Learning is not for competition, but to discover that every day is worth living. Learning is not to hold on to youth, but to see that old age is another spring, the spring of wisdom. The Buddha taught, "One who continues to learn will never run dry." Learning is not only knowledge, it is learning to let go, to love, to live each breath fully. Thus, old age is not an ending, but a profound beginning. Yet even as we learn anew, shadows may still visit us. Not the fear of aging, nor the habit of comparison, but the wounds of regret, the if-onlys and what-ifs carried for a lifetime. This burden makes the heart too crowded for peace. And so, the next thing we must release is regret and the inability to forgive ourselves. Number 6, letting go of regret and forgiving yourself. In the quiet of night, many elders revisit old memories, a word unsaid, a path not taken, a choice that brought sorrow. These memories do not shout, but they linger, turning today's smile half-hearted, making joy feel borrowed. The Buddha taught, you, yourself, as much as anyone in the entire universe, deserve your love and compassion. This means even our past mistakes deserve to be held with kindness. Long ago, there was an old woman who had spent her youth chasing wealth and status, hurting others along the way. In old age, she went to a temple crying, "I wasted my life. I caused harm. I do not deserve peace." The teacher replied gently, "The river accepts both clear and muddy rain. So too can your life accept all that has been. If seen with wisdom, even mistakes can become soil where compassion grows." In today's world, we see the same struggles. A father who neglected his children for work now weeps over old photographs, whispering, "If only I had been there." A woman divorced young spends decades in guilt. "If I had tried harder, maybe my family would have stayed together." An old woman quarreled with her sister and never reconciled before her sister's death. For over 20 years, she has carried the weight of never forgiving herself. But regret is only a shadow of the past. It cannot change what was. It can only steal the present. Forgiving yourself is not forgetting. It is remembering without poison. The Buddha taught, the past is gone, the future not yet here. Only the present moment is a place of peace. When we can say, "I did the best I could with what I knew. Now I know better, so I will live better." Regret dissolves and lightness enters. Forgiveness is the key that opens the door to the present, and only in the present do we find true freedom. Yet deep inside, another restlessness still stirs. It is the urge to control everything: health, children, possessions. even the future itself. But the tighter we grip, the more fear binds us. This is the final burden we must release, the craving to control everything. Number 7, letting go of the craving to control everything. All our lives we are taught to grasp, manage, and control. In youth, we control our careers, our finances, our relationships. In old age, we try to control our health, our children, even destiny itself. But the more we cling, the more anxious we become. For the universe follows impermanence. Nothing remains in our grasp. The Buddha taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. When grasped, the mind suffers. When released, the mind is free. A story tells of a wealthy woman who lived in fear of losing her riches. Each day she locked her treasures, but her mind knew no peace. She went to a monk in despair. "I cannot sleep. I fear losing everything." The master quietly picked up a golden leaf, dropped it into a stream, and said, "That leaf belonged to the branch. Now it belongs to the river." So too with life. Nothing is truly ours to hold. When you release, you will finally rest. In today's world, this craving is everywhere. An old man tries to control his children's lives. Study this. Live that way. But the more he controls, the more distant they become, leaving him lonely. An elderly woman, gravely ill, clings to her body with fear and anger, unable to let go. Her suffering multiplies. A retiree spends every day calculating his savings, terrified of loss, and ends up spending his last years in worry instead of joy. When we let go of the craving to control, we see that life flows on its own, like rivers running to the sea, like flowers blooming and falling with the seasons. The Buddha said, "Do not chase after what cannot be kept. Return to the present, where true freedom lives." And in that return, we realize we need not control our children. We can offer them love and space. We need not fight to preserve health. We can cherish each breath as it is. We need not hoard possessions. We can live lightly, share freely, and smile. Letting go of control reveals that freedom is not in holding tight, but in opening the hand. Then, old age is no longer trembling in fear, but walking with ease, like drifting clouds, flowing streams, golden leaves falling yet shining in the autumn light. Remember, peace is here in every breath. So we have walked together through this journey of 7 things to let go of in old age to find inner peace. Each thing released is like setting down a stone. With each stone laid down, our steps grow lighter, our breath deeper, our heart wider. The Buddha taught, when you no longer cling, when you no longer grasp, the mind is free. Many think old age is only about loss, losing health, loved ones, or social roles. But with awakened eyes, we see old age is not loss, but an invitation to return to ourselves, to live deeper, slower, more peacefully. Remember, letting go of toxic relationships creates space for true love. Letting go of fear of aging reveals the gift of time. Letting go of comparing with youth shows the worth of today. Letting go of dependence on others lights the lantern within. Letting go of the belief that it's too late to learn opens the door of wisdom. Letting go of regret brings compassion back to the heart. And letting go of the need to control gives us true freedom. Let old age no longer be days of fear, but the most beautiful autumn of life, where falling leaves are serene and sunsets radiant. The Buddha said, "Peace is not found in the past, nor awaited in the future. It is here, in this very moment, if the mind knows how to stop and smile." So take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, smile gently, and ask yourself, what am I ready to release today, so my heart may rest in peace? Because letting go is not losing. Letting go is opening your hand to receive the entire sky. If this journey spoke to your heart, I invite you to support this channel by liking and sharing this video. And if you wish to walk further on the path of mindfulness and Buddhist wisdom, gently subscribe so we may continue to breathe, to learn, and to let go together. May peace be with you in every breath.